All right, this is kind of a niche video. Only a couple people I would say would really enjoy learning this. Basically, this is how I take the older pop-up 28 bag and I make it more modular and able to accept another bag such as the Gravelly 18. I learned a tip from another person on YouTube. I'll put his name in the description, that way he gets credit for it. But basically, changing out these top buckles for G-hooks allows the bag to sit tighter to the frame and not have so much sag, where the male and female buckle would, it used to take up a lot of room right here and the bag would sit far off the frame. Anybody that's carried a bag for a long time knows that that weight needs to be as close to your back as possible. But anyways, these G-hooks getting added here, for one, helps out with that, and it also makes it quicker to swap bags out. On the bottom here, I went a step further and added 2 more G-hooks to the bottom of the bag, where typically this webbing would just weave through these pieces on the bottom here. I've left them, instead of cutting them off in case I ever wanted to go back, the G-hooks just clip onto the webbing in the same slot and allows me to quickly remove without having to unthread and take my webbing retainers off the bag. So basically I've got a 28, and quick note, the 28 is shorter than the 30, the newer frame 30. So I thought they were the same size, but it actually sits a little bit smaller. So if you're somebody who is really short like myself, and maybe you are wearing a helmet or anything where you don't want that frame to be hitting the back of your helmet, this would probably be the way to go. The 30 is okay. It's not as tall as something like the Guidelight frame, but it's definitely a little bit taller. So anyways, I'm going to show you how I remove it. Basically, all this is set up to where I don't have to change any parts out. This Gravelly 18, and if you don't know about this bag, basically it can be piggybacked onto a larger bag, or which it can be piggybacked, or it can be mounted to the frame by itself and have its own load shelf, which is pretty sweet, which is what I do with this frame. Or it has backpack straps that you can pull out and attach to these loops down here and use this as a standalone, like ultralight style bag. Which I think is why it makes it perfect for this frame, because you can mount it to the frame and have the ability to take it off the frame and use it as a standalone bag when you don't want the load shelf. So I think it's awesome. The only thing I have added to this are male repair buckles on one side and female repair buckles to the other side. Now obviously these coincide with the pop-up 28 because those buckles are mounted to the frame itself. One side has male buckles, the other side has female buckles. So you just line them up accordingly. Next, all you do is you take off the G-hooks by sliding these out. And I didn't attach the load shelf, but you would unthread the load shelf typically. On the bottom, you take these G-hooks out. And that's way faster than having to unthread everything. And then once you undo the load shelf, the bag is completely off. And then you can take the Gravelly in its slick configuration, set it down, and attach this side and the other side. Obviously, if you're going to use the load shelf, go ahead and weave the thread the load shelf into the frame. But just for the sake of the video, I'm not going to do that. And you can do one of two things. There's loops on the back side of the bag, and if you want to really get the frame tight onto, or the bag tight onto the frame, I would recommend doing that. If you want to go over, so say you want to strap something to the bottom of the bag, you can take the straps and go to these loops on the front of the bag. So just like this. So there's that. And then up top, same as on the bottom, you have 2 loops on the back and you have 2 loops on the front. If I plan on strapping something to the top, I'm going to take these a little bit loose and run them to the front. But I like running them on the back, that way I don't have to undo any kind of buckles to get to my zipper. So I'm going to weave that through there. And now, just make sure everything's tight. Now you have an 18-liter bag on the 28 frame, and I've taken the hip belt off of this because with it being such a small bag, you don't really need a hip belt. And yes, I have carried like full bags of corn and other stuff into the woods. Not super far, but a good distance using the shelf of this bag and the 30. And I've done it with and without a hip belt. Hip belt helps, but honestly to me, it takes up more room than it's worth. I like having it very slick. But this gives you an option of having an 18-liter bag. You can expand it and throw a dry bag down in there if you want to really add some more capacity. But it gives you the ability to just strip this bag off, pull the straps out, and have a standalone ultralight style bag. And you can just take the frame and leave it in the truck, which is a feature that you don't have with something like the 30. Unless you obviously put the Gravely on the 30. But buying a pop-up bag just like this, you don't have the feature of removing the frame and just having an ultralight bag. So to me, this is a really killer setup. And I know somebody out there will be like, holy crap, that's awesome. Because that's exactly what I thought. I was, holy crap, this is awesome. Once again, the only thing I added was 1, 2, 3, 4 repair buckles to the Gravely, and that's it. Well, I'm sorry, and then the G-hooks. And I've got these, I want to say that these are marsupial gear. They're replacement buckles or something. I can't remember. They're like $3 on their website. So really cheap modification and makes a really versatile setup. So hope you like that. And if you got any questions, shoot me a DM like on Instagram or on here or something. My Instagram is @steelcased, and I can send you some pictures and show you like more in depth of how I have it set up if you're confused about anything. But anyways, hope you like it.